We going?
Yep.
Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Welcome to another episode of our most Thursdays of the month live guitar building and repair question and answer segment that we try to do. Well, we do every Thursday except Thursdays where we're offering an online class. Isn't that right, Chris?
That is correct.
So this is the kind of thing that we just take your questions and we try to get as many of them as we possibly can in an hour. And we talk about all things guitars, everything from wood selection.
Everything from wood selection to string selection.
That's right.
And everything in between.
That's right. And we're the only live question and answer show with actual guitar makers. So anyway, so thanks for joining us, you guys. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'd like to first thank our sponsors, Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. If you're in the Denver area, check them out and tell Ike and Dylan and Nico that the guys from Texas Toast said, hey, if you aren't in Denver but you're online shopping, their online store is open 24 hours a day, and they would be more than happy to put a Flipside sticker in your order if you order, whatever you get, a set of strings or a $1 zillion tube amp. I want to thank our friend Mike Learn at Mike Learn Airbrush and Mike Learn Guitars. We actually have something to talk about later on. I just talked with Mike today, but it's going to be a very cool video and very cool event that you guys will want to check out. I'd like to thank SimTech Coatings. All of the sealers that we use are brought to you by our friends at SimTech Coatings. If you don't know what we use, call them up and go, hey, I want what the guys at Texas Toast use. They will know, and they will send you out the good stuff and all the stuff that you need to do that. I'd like to thank Dan at Guitar Wood Experts. As you guys probably know, we had a little bit of a guitar wood horror story, and I want to talk to you about that because some stuff, nothing changed with that in the last few minutes, but something did happen that is I think, very apt. And so thank you to our friends at Guitar Wood Experts, Dan and Calvin and the rest of the guys over there. We've never been burned by Guitar Wood Experts. Finally, I'd like to thank our new sponsor, Aqua Coat. The good people at Aqua Coat sent us this pint of pour and grain filler, and we tested it out. It's pretty neat. It's just like this paste. It's almost like, it really is like paste, and you just kind of mash it in there. We actually did a body with it that's mahogany. And what do you think so far, Chris?
I think it shows promise so far.
There's a little bit of operator error.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
On my part, because you guys will see in the video, but
yeah.
I think as soon as and they even say, they basically say, if I was writing these directions for them, it would be, don't mess around, try this out on something first. Don't try it out on a guitar you're going to try to, make as the first thing that you do. But this stuff, I think this stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
So, and a pint of this would go a long, long way. And it's $25, and right now they're offering free shipping. So aquacoat.com, check them out and tell them the guys at Texas Toast sent you their way, and watch for a video on Aquacoat.
There you go. Driddle says he used it on his Great Guitar Build-Off guitar.
Did he? Okay, cool. What's that, Mrs. Toast?
Don't forget how much it cost.
$25. $24.99. Okay. So, are there any questions before we vamp for a little while? Okay.
Yeah, Jeffrey Egan wants to know what's it taste like.
I have no idea.
It doesn't even smell.
No, it's non-odorous.
Yeah.
It's not odorific pachylomer.
Yep.
Okay.
Michael Gwynn asks, let's remember the rule of question marks before your question, because it helps me see them in the comments.
3 or 4 is better than 1.
Yeah, 3 or 4 is better, but anything is better than none.
And guys, if you're watching this during or before I have a chance to go home and remove the ads from the video, sorry, there's going to be ads. YouTube automatically adds them. I take them out later. Sorry, don't hassle me for there being ads. I don't put them in there.
Correct. All right. Michael Gwynn, and I'm having some trouble understanding this question.
Okay.
How do you know how or which truss rod in or cut? Truss rod in or cut.
How do you know which truss rod? Well, as long as it fits in the neck, that's the one to use. Can you help us out there?
Repost your question.
Help us out a little bit.
Where can I get custom pre-cut inlays?
I don't know. just the inlays themselves. You know, we use Russ at Music Engineering Services, and he'll help us with complete fretboards that are already inlaid. But we only do that for special order kind of things. We don't do a lot of inlay. I think there's a few places that will offer custom stuff. Be prepared to pay for that. I used to look up. There was a place that was out of Vietnam, and I have never used them, but they would do whatever you wanted, and they had people who were very meticulous with the little jeweler saw, and they would cut out whatever you wanted, and yeah.
Yep. Good.
But Russ will do stuff with again inlays made out of what? Mother of pearl. Russ doesn't work at that. I don't think lasers work on mother of pearl very well.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But yeah, if you want custom thing, the best way to go really is get some product and get a little jeweler saw and give it a try. If all you want is the inlay, you can do it. So.
How do you feel about the liquid?
Cool.
Oh, liquid inlay. I'm not a super huge fan, but yeah. Yes.
You ready?
You ready?
All right. What is your preferred cleaner for pots and switches?
That squirty stuff.
Yeah, I like deoxit.
Yeah.
That seems to be the kind of the industry standard for that kind of thing. It cleans and lubricates.
Ah, all right.
It says that on the can.
And so it's good.
Yeah. All right. Where's a good place for templates?
Who's asking that? Tim?
Michael French.
Okay. Tim asked earlier. So I recommend guitarbuildingtemplates.com. Tim said if it's that guy from Florida, I'll never use him again. I've never had any issues with Ron at Guitar Building Templates, and I probably shouldn't say.
Is he the guy from Florida?
Well, he is in Florida.
Okay.
So yeah, Tim, give him another chance. I'm not sure what happened, but
yeah.
We have a wall of templates that we got from Ron, and I just got some new ones, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah, it's not the fastest, and I
no,
can see
it's not
if
quick.
you wanted them, if you were expecting them in 3 days or 5 days.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
But we have a great
unfortunately.
relationship with Ron at guitarbuildingtemplates.com. If he doesn't pay us to say that, but that's who we use 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
You also like?
I like Faction Guitars.
Okay.
And you can go to factionguitars.com. He's also got a, I think you said it's Ponoco account. That's who he has actually laser cut them for him.
Okay.
So you order it from him. He sends it to Ponoco, and then they ship it to you. And
How much?
his stuff's good.
How? Can you send him? I want something that.
No, it's only stuff that he has.
Okay.
I mean, you might be able to do that.
Who's the guy who you did that with? Didn't you have some custom templates made once?
No, I made my own custom templates. Yeah. But he might have some interest in doing that. I know he can modify templates. So
the funny thing about what we do with templates is we like when we get template sets, all we really use them for is the body outline. If the body outline is close, well, that's all we really use ours for. We don't use the little inlay things or the scale or where the holes for the
or the neck.
No, we
Most
don't
times,
use any of that stuff.
Unless that's exactly what the order calls for.
Yeah.
But we usually just use it for the outline.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And we tweak it from there generally. So.
Yeah. Yep. Lizard Machine wants to know, how do I measure to route out a humbucker cavity in a Strat type guitar with a single coil in the bridge? Trem bridge is already in.
You might have some issues there because, well, is it for a Floyd or just a Trem?
He just wants
Just
to
a
put
Trem.
a humbucker cavity in a
Then,
Strat.
then you'll be fine. You'll need to, you need to measure a humbucker. Best way to do it is
create a center line and have a template.
You can get them those clear ones from Stu Mac or somewhere. Plop it on there and buzz it out.
Yeah.
Worst way to do it,
Butter
but
knife.
equally effective.
Butter knife.
No, that I'm not even including like 1/4-inch drill
Chisel.
and a thing and
Yeah.
bashing it. If you do that to a guitar, you will smoke a turd in hell for that. I had a Koa aluminum neck Kramer that somebody had done that to, and they threw out all the good stuff and put a bunch of junk in it, and they're gonna burn in hell. No, but so don't use a router. But the worst way, the least easy way, let's say, would be to take the humbucker, measure it, get some calipers, measure it, and build a little box, and then use your use your router that way with a bearing bit.
Yeah.
So
You could do that too.
Yep.
You can go online and print out a humbucker route and glue it to a piece of MDF and then drill some holes and cut it out and sand it and make your own template if you can't buy one, or if you want to do it like tonight and you don't have one. Yeah. All right, cool.
So, guys, I want to, while Chris is looking up things, I want to bring you up to speed on something that happened just a second ago. This wood is still cold. If any of you guys watched my most recent video on hardwood horror story, you saw this board right here that is total junk. And we are still working. Get a load of those checks in there. The guy who sold this said that we don't know what we're doing with lumber and that this is still good. This is the best. And he said, you have him send it back to me and I'll make a neck that I'll show them how to make a neck. And I'm like, man, anyway, we're getting to more of that story later down the line. But in the last 30 minutes, I got a delivery of this maple for our friend Andrew St. Pierre. This is five pieces of bird's eye maple in neck blanks. But look, it's like, let me get back. Look how you see the difference in the wood and how it's straight and flat. And it doesn't have to be straight and flat to work with. You can machine it. But I mean, even Stevie Wonder could tell the difference between this garbage and the stuff that Andrew the Saint sent us from Bell Forest Figured and Exotic Woods. I have not used them before, but so they do not have the stamp of hubris from Texas Toast. But you can look at this. Just the difference is night and day.
Yeah.
And by the way, the stuff that we got from I almost slipped and told you guys where the garbage wood came from. The stuff that got, the garbage stuff, is supposed to be 5A flame maple. Here we go again. This right here, guys, is supposed to be 5A flame maple. I'm sorry, bird's eye maple. Now,
I don't think the
stand by one, please. Now, this is 1A bird's eye maple from the guys at Bell Forest Exotic, Figured and Exotic Woods. So I'm imagining too that Andrew St. Pierre didn't pay nearly the price that the guy. Well, anyway, suffice to say, fellas, there are quality wood sources out there, and there are less scrupulous people who will sell you wood.
I'm noticing a disturbing lack of cracks in the new wood.
Yeah, me too.
Too much bird's eye, not enough cracks.
Yeah. So, Mrs. Toast, you were saying, come over here, please. And
Okay, I don't think the way you were holding the angle really showed the shittiness.
Well, we have that whole video
Okay.
of how craptastic that stuff that we got. Guys, I want to, I talked with the buyer, and he's been getting hate mail from the seller. And I don't want to have him take it and, you know what I mean? I don't want him to get a bunch of hate mail because of something that I did. So I don't, how about this? If you are going to try to, source lumber on the internet, find out what their return policy is, get a clear picture of the wood, and, use caution. And if you want to send me an email, hey, is this guy okay? Or how about, hey, is this guy the guy who sent you the garbage? I'll tell you yes or no. But I don't want to go into, who it is. I would much rather say, you know what? The stuff that came in from Bell Forest Figured and Exotic Wood sure does look nice. The stuff that we got from the other guy, don't buy from him. Check out some of these other guys. Check out Dan at Guitar Wood Experts. Check out, some of these other people. And as wood comes in, I will show you what that looks like. But yeah, and I'm not scared of some hillbilly from Illinois. Hell, I'm a hillbilly from Illinois. So yeah, they don't scare me. Here's another thing. This is a blank. This is a one-piece blank of ambrosia maple, and as you guys can see here, I have drawn on the face of it a guitar, and you could use this to make a really neat guitar. We actually have a bunch of these. I'm selling these for $125. If you want, I'll send you a picture, and if you want one, I'll be happy to pop it in a box and mail it off to you, and you can have a one-piece body blank. Those are pretty neat.
Cool.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What happened to your ShopFox pin router?
Mike Learn has it.
There you go. Next question.
Do they? So the ShopFox pin router didn't break. When we got the Jet pin router, it's a superior tool in every way. In every way, you know what I mean? It's designed to be that. Now the ShopFox isn't bad, but it's sort of like saying, you know, I don't even know.
It was obvious we weren't going to use it after we got the new tool.
Yeah. I would rather eat cat shit with a knitting needle than I would use the ShopFox after we got the Jet.
There you go.
No, the ShopFox was a great tool. And if you guys have one, I don't think they make them anymore, though.
No, I don't think ShopFox is a thing. I think all of that stuff went the Grizzly route.
I think you're right.
But I don't know that Grizzly makes one of those either, because they make the other Grizzlies.
No, if you can find one, though, they're good tools.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Yeah.
This is the clear up on the truss rod.
Okay.
How do you know how deep to cut a truss rod channel or cavity?
Okay, well, if you're going with a double acting two-way rod, excuse me, a rod that has two pieces, you will need to just make it as deep as the two pieces.
You want it to be flush with the top of the neck or slightly lower.
Yeah. If you're using a one-piece rod that's in an arched channel, in a smiley face, you're gonna need more curve than you might think. Figure out how thick you want the neck after carving it, and put as much curve in it as you possibly can. Hope that helps.
Cool. Do you guys use locking tuners on your builds, and if so, what brand do you prefer?
We will use whatever the customer likes, but we do use locking tuners.
Especially on guitars with trims.
That's right. Or 12 strings.
Or 12 strings. Yeah.
Let's elaborate on that. But there's one brand that we use, unless somebody says, I want brand X, we use hip shot tuners.
Yes.
As often as we can. Elaborate on both those, on the 12 string and the trim, and why we use hip shot, Chris.
Well, the 12 string is because even though it has double the number of strings, it takes 3 times as long to string a 12 string up, seemingly. And locking tuners are just faster, and if you break a string, it's just easier to change it out. You don't have to sit there and spin it and twist it.
So most of the 12 strings that we do as well are double necks.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff jammed in.
Yeah, that's the other reason is, it's just easier on a double neck when the two necks are fairly close together to get in between them and only have to turn it, less than a whole rotation.
Yeah.
If you do it right. The reason that we use them on trem guitars is I think trem guitars break strings more, possibly, and it's just easier to swap them.
People like the idea of the string locking somewhere on a trem, thanks to the Floyd Rose and things like that. So like Brian Setzer puts them on his Gretsch. I'm not 100% convinced that it does very much, but who am I to say, hey, Brian Setzer, you're doing it wrong. And he uses hip shots too, doesn't he?
I
think so.
Does he now? Yeah, he probably used what's his face.
Oh, he might still.
Yeah, he may still use those.
But we really like the hip shot tuners, and we really like the people at Hip Shot. Smooth.
Yeah, really smooth and no lash. You back off it. You go back. You can actually that old rule of you tune down a little bit and then you tune it up. Yeah. You can actually tune it down with these tuners as well, and it'll stay. So
and seemingly unlimited. Well, there lots and lots and lots of choices of colors, buttons, pins, locking, non-locking, open back, closed back. They got it all.
Yep. Yeah, they're cool. Is there a way to verify moisture content when buying wood without the expensive meter?
I can't think of a way.
No, I think this is, there was that Crimson video, and Ben had a really expensive.
There's
tool.
really expensive, and then I'm
And I don't
pretty
know how
sure you can
expensive it
get
is.
a moisture meter for under $100.
I would think at this point, with
Yeah.
the amount of stuff coming
The-
from the Orient.
Yeah, I mean, you can. The best way to go is to know who you're buying the lumber from. Like the stuff we get from Dan is dry as a bone, but it's not like the ash that we get. It's basically turns to powder as soon as you start cutting it. It's so dry, but it's not cracked. It's not. It doesn't check and crack and break like this junk that I'm looking at right here. The stuff that we get from Dan, I know is makes a good guitar because that's kind of what he does.
Yeah.
He's the guitar wood expert, and he's got that name for a reason. So, but if you were at the lumberyard and you wanted to me, there are more things about lumber that I would and would not buy that have nothing to do with moisture. Like, so how it's stored when I go to the yard to pick it out. If it's standing up, if it's laying on a pallet and, there's a bunch of other stuff and stickers and stuff, yeah. If it's got a bunch of checks and cracks in it, no. That means, it could mean any number of things. And some of that stuff is just going to happen, but,
Yeah.
You got anything?
All right. Yep.
Okay.
What do different values of capacitors on tone pots? How do they affect the tone?
I don't know.
The higher the number, the darker the tone will be when it's rolled all the way off. That's why a Les Paul typically uses a .022 cap and a Strat uses a .047 because a Strat is a brighter guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. And it's the maximum that it will turn down the treble. Basically.
So we use 3/3s on everything.
Yeah,
now.
we do use
Unless somebody says I want.
0.033, yeah. And sometimes I'll put 047s in.
Okay.
But yeah. So that's how that works.
Cool.
Safest way to enlarge holes for pots and switches is to not damage paint.
I like those stepped bits.
Yeah.
What do they call them? They look like a cone, and they have lots of different things, and you kind of poke it
But
through.
they have, like little Devo hats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Down.
They are called. Maybe they're just called step
I thought they were
bits.
step bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a brand name.
I think so too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
those work really, really well. And on
And they're sharp.
they're sharp, and on a wood body with paint on it, just kind of go slow. Don't charge at it, and you should be fine. Sometimes depends on how fragile the paint is. If you put tape over the hole and do it that way, you can stop some chipping.
Yeah.
Stabilize the
foundation.
If you're doing it
Sure.
on lacquer, it's probably gonna chip.
Yeah.
Apparently it's step
Yeah.
bits.
Step bits. Okay.
Step bits.
There you go.
That's the concept.
That's the kind I like.
I think that's what we called it.
Yep.
What do you think of Stu-Mac Parsons Street pickups?
I think those are cool pickups. We used to use those on everything. When they were, this was 10 years ago, they had a sale, and they were like $35 a piece, and I bought $1,000 worth of them. And we used them and used them. Like, that was a long, long time ago. Now they're about the same money as, a name brand pickup. So let me tell you why we went with the Stu-Mac pickups. One of course was cost. And I was talking to a friend of mine. He said, well, you should use these kind of pickups. And I said, well, the problem with these kind of pickups is they're cool, but not everybody wants that brand. So, like, for example, let's say I decided to use Lindy Fralin pickups in every single guitar I ever made, and I don't think anyone's going to argue that those aren't awesome. But you're going to get one guy who goes, well, I don't like those. I like Lawlers instead. Or I want Novak pickups. Or I want TV Jones. Or I want Railhammer. Or I want Bare Knuckle. Or I want insert name of super awesome pickup here. So it's one of those things where I'm like, let's just put something in there, knowing that if it sounds good, we've done our part and we haven't offended anybody. And we haven't spent $300 on pickups that someone might go whoop and just toss them. Now, there's a couple guitars though that I'm adamant that there's one true and holy pickup that should go in that guitar. So, for example, on our daily driver, unless somebody wants something else, I think it should always have one Seymour Duncan quarter pounder in the bridge. And if you really want the super cool one, you should get the custom shop one with the tapped coil. Does everybody know the difference between coil splitting and coil tapping? A lot of people get that one wrong. But if you tap a coil, you have a wind of wire, and then you come off, and then you come back and keep winding on it and come off. So you have one coil with 3 leads. And so it's a way to get like a 7K pickup and a 10K, 7K coil and a 10K coil all in the same coil. And you have to switch back and forth. Splitting a humbucker is just using one coil of a humbucker. But a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to tap the coils on my humbucker. Well, it's not the same. It's splitting the coil. But that's semantics. And I'm always up for semantics. Anyway, so yeah, I think that the Telecaster in general should have the Seymour Duncan quarter pounder. I think it's my favorite. And if you want something else, then you just proved my point that I can put the wrong thing, even if it's a quality pickup. And if you're only putting one humbucker in an electric guitar, it should be the...
I was reading stuff.
It should be the DiMarzio Super Distortion Double Cream. And if you think it should be anything else, you're wrong. I really like that pickup. So,
ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I have a nice guitar with neck through body. Neck is painted to match the body, so I can't stand to bare wood. It has a really sticky gloss finished neck. How would you fix it?
Well, presumably the stickiness is what needs fixing.
Yes.
I would say to do what Chris calls the real nice treatment.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
And the real nice treatment is basically just sanding it back to a matte finish. So you'll use like 800 grit sandpaper, or 600 first and then 800 and maybe 1,000, and then a little bit of wax on it, and that should get rid of any of the stickiness on it and make it nice and smooth and matte, but
You
still
do
the
this
same
thing
color.
where you tape around so that it look there's a clear line of demarcation of shiny to matte.
Yeah.
Do you ever just use Scotch-Brite? Could you just use that
use
instead of...
Scotch-Brite. I prefer sandpaper because I know what the grits are. I'm never quite sure about Scotch-Brite, and like a gray Scotch-Brite will scratch up a shiny thing and put scratches in it you can see.
Yeah.
So, and then it's hard to get them back out.
Yeah.
So I just use sandpaper.
So yeah, if you mask before you start sanding, then when you're all done sanding, you peel the mask off and it looks
like
classy.
It's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And not like you wore a sandpaper glove.
Yeah,
and,
looks like you meant to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did that. Yeah. When do you route the channel for binding a neck? Before or after frets are installed?
Before. Here's how I do it. Our process is we glue the fretboard on. Cut the fret slots, do all the work to the neck that we're going to do. Angle, headstock, tuner holes, truss rod. Glue the fretboard on. Radius the fretboard, and then if we're not putting binding on, we'll press frets in. If we are putting binding on, I radius the fretboard, then put the binding on, then scrape the binding back to match the radius, and then fret. Now, if you're doing those little nubs over the fret ends, then you want to radius the board, do your channel, then press the frets in, then grind everything to where it's flush, then press your binding on. By the way, if you are interested in that technique and you're interested in one of our build classes, our January Build a Classic Set Neck Guitar includes binding the neck in the Gibson style if you want to do it. A lot of people like Jesse comes in and I'm like, hey, you want to do that Gibson style nub? He's like, no, I hate those. But a lot of people love them. So and Jesse sounds exactly like that. No, he. So if you, but that's one of the things that we can do at the 1 week Build a Classic Set Neck Guitar. That's available on the website right now. You can sign up for that. That class is going to be super, super fun. They're all going to be mahogany, maple tops. You don't have to do a maple top but I recommend you do. Mahogany neck, rosewood fretboard, binding on everything. If you want, you should. And we'll do all of that stuff. And we'll do neck angles and truss rod slots, and we'll do everything. You will start with a piece of wood that it's going to be mahogany, but it'll be like, just a square of wood, not ambrosia maple, but yeah. I should have had a piece of mahogany. I hope people get the differentiation.
Yep. Can you guys send me the info that I need to buy one of those maple body blanks?
Who is that?
It's Bryant Crawford.
Bryant, if you would do me a favor, please send me an email through the website. And that's texastoastguitars.com. And just go to the contact thing and go, hey man, I want one of them bodies. I'll send you an invoice through PayPal, and and we'll go from there. How about that? I hope that.
Yep.
Easy
that sounds
deal.
Right.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Grease Monkey Guitar says, I'm signing up for the neck shaping class.
Cool.
And would you be able to toss in a small piece of scrap ash, small for filling screw holes, in the package that would be otherwise thrown away?
If I remember.
Dude. Yeah. When you sign up for the class, be sure and mention that part of it, and we'll throw in some extra wood.
Yeah.
Into the box.
Speaking of classes, next week is Build a Classic Strat.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, 5 days of all the Strat nerdery you can handle.
Yes.
Presented by me, the world's biggest Strat lover.
That one sold out, so you can't sign up for that one. But it's next week. I'm pretty sure people would be like, "Oh, that sounds cool." I'm gonna like the next day schedule to get out here. But lots more classes coming up. Like I was saying, I just talked to Mike Learn today, and we have 2 classes with Mike Learn coming up in 2021. One of them is Mike's birthday class. It's over St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And Mike's gonna be here. It's gonna be wildly fun. I've more information on that coming soon. But it's painting, and it's guitar building and neck shaping and painting, and you guys are gonna have so much fun. And I'm gonna spill the beans. It comes with one of Mike's new airbrushes. Don't tell Mike I said that. Actually, his wife and I are working on kind of a whole package of everything. It's going to be premium components, and she's got like all these like for lack of a better term, collector series boxes and all these little pieces and bits. That's bits and pieces that go with the new Mike Learn airbrush. It's going to be really cool only for the people who come to the class. So more news on that coming very, very soon. Sorry. I'm excited about that.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
What?
Cool.
It's going to be those classes are going to be really, really fun. What's the best way to plug tuning peg holes, so they can be placed differently on a reshaped headstock?
Well, since you're reshaping the headstock, I'm assuming you are a bit of a woodworker. So the hot setup would be to either drill out the holes to a dowel that you can buy, or make some dowels on the lathe that you may or may not have. Option 2, what I do on a reshaped headstock? I just cut the tuner holes off and then glue a new piece of wood on, and then reshape everything, cut new holes.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah, you want to use the same wood that the neck is made out of.
Yeah. And you want the grain going the same way.
And you want the grain to go the same way. And usually, like maple, you can buy maple dowels pretty easily. You can get get a dowel that's slightly bigger than the current holes and drill it out.
Yeah.
Test drill some other maple and see that it's gonna fit snug.
Yeah.
And do a really good job gluing it up. And you don't want glue, you want the plug to fit really, really tight.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You want a nice, clean hole.
Yeah, nice clean
You don't
hole.
want to wall it out.
Use a drill
one.
press. Don't use a hand drill.
Yeah.
And and plug it, and it'll be fine and be perfect.
That was you wanted to know the best way, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Step bits. Yep. We had so many questions early on. Here we go. I'm having some fret sprout issues, and a local shop owner told me to pound them down with a rubber mallet. Is this safe, or should I take it to a pro?
That seems like dodgy advice.
Yeah, I never advise hitting a guitar with a rubber mallet.
Really, hitting anything with a hammer other than a nail is ill-advised.
Yeah, especially in frets. Frets are soft, and you could probably do some damage. I would take it to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, this is a tool that's used for pounding frets into slots, but not for bashing the sides. So as you can see, this has a removable plastic head and a removable brass head. But yeah, I would not. This is not the tool to fix fret sprout with. I would not heed that guy's advice. I would go elsewhere. You want to remove the metal, not peen the metal.
Yeah, I think really. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure that stuff with maybe that's an old school way or whatever, but yeah. As you know, Chris, I'm a fan of old school ways, and I've never heard that one. Just bash the frets in. But you know what? There's lots of stuff I don't know.
Yep. Blend pot in place of a 3-way switch. What do I need to know? So a blend pot has to have, they make special pots for blend pots. Otherwise, it won't truly ever be completely off the way that you wire them, from what I understand. It's been a while since I've wired up a blend pot. And then just follow a diagram. If you're doing a Strat, like you want to make a blend knob for one of the pickups on that, it's pretty straightforward.
How did you do Isaiah's? That wasn't quite the same, but you had basically a telly setup, and then we added another pickup. He just wanted a volume control so that he could add that volume, add that pickup with a volume control.
Yeah, so really that wiring scheme is very much like a Les Paul, just without an extra tone knob.
Okay.
And and then it just goes to the jack.
Okay.
From there, so it's yeah.
Does it work in any position on the switch? Okay.
Yeah, and then you can turn it down all the way.
Yeah.
And it will then make the guitar just a telly.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Oh, what time is it?
I think we're about 40 minutes in.
These go fast. These go really fast. While Chris is looking, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Flipside Music, the great American guitar store, Mike Learn Guitars and Mike Learn Airbrush, Simtech Coatings, Guitar Wood Experts. Give those guys a call, and you won't have the same horror story that we got from this other wood here. And our newest sponsor, Aquacoat. I like Aquacoat so far. I want to do more with this. We've got a video coming out for Aquacoat, and I think it's going to save quite a bit of time and quite a bit of sealer. Sealer is the Simtech stuff is awesome, but you got to suit up or you get covered with sticky stuff. And this is not like use this in lieu of Simtech. Use this in addition to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a question about the follow-up on the special treatment for the neck.
Yeah.
Driddle wanted to know wet or dry. I would sand it with a little bit of water or a little bit of mineral spirits. It just makes it a little easier.
And the paper doesn't get full of gunk or those little hard corn things. I'm wearing my shirt that Driddle sent me today.
Yeah, there you go.
Beaver lick or whatever. Yeah. I'm sure he's watching. I don't know if his daughter sometimes watches, and she's just the cutest little thing. So
There's another plan to come out for a vacation.
Vacation.
I
Cool,
think.
cool.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Doug Santinello has,
Hey,
has
Doug.
a good question. How do you tell if a gloss finish is lacquer or poly? Is there a way? Yes.
Yes.
There is.
There's a good way and a not so good way.
Yeah. Well, I think the best way is to find a place like maybe inside a control cavity.
I bet you Doug's asking, he's getting into acoustics. So I'm betting there's no control cavity.
Okay.
So that would mean, to me, pull a tuner.
Yeah, you could do that.
You're gonna have such a little tiny space to work.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to take some lacquer thinner or acetone on a Q-tip and see if you can get if you can get that acetone to make the finish soft. You don't even need to take any of it off.
Yeah.
Just and it should happen almost instantly.
Yeah.
And if it gets soft, it's lacquer. And if it doesn't get soft, then it's some sort of urethane or polyester.
On an electric, it's so much easier because you can pull the pickup out and try it, or pull the control cavity cover and do it, or
Yeah.
But on acoustic, yeah.
Yeah. If you like the guitar.
Yeah. You can also smell lacquer. That's one of the things that people really like about lacquer is the way that it smells. That's a good way to tell, and you can also just tell. This sounds tacky, but you can tell by looking at it. You know what I mean? Like you can if remember when we were at NAMM show and we saw the Nick Hubler guitars, and he had two identical guitars, and one was finished all in nitrocellulose lacquer, and one was finished with modern paints, and it was like night and day difference.
Yeah.
You could see it from 30 feet away. You could tell which one was which.
Yeah.
The modern paint is just so much smoother and glossier and is more buffable, and lacquer you just cannot do it.
Yeah.
I can't. So, yeah. And Nick Hubler is a master builder. He has forgotten more in the last 10 minutes than most people about doing it. So if he can't do it, then yeah.
Yeah. Danny Canchola
Hey, Danny.
must ask a question.
Okay.
Hey guys, Brian Nutter is teaching me how
Cool.
to build guitars at the Guitar Craft Academy in Nashville.
Nice.
Who taught you? I'm really interested.
Who taught me?
Yeah.
Chris.
That's a lie.
I went to Roberto Venn in 1989, and that's where I got my first experience with building guitars from an instructor. Then after that, I went to work for a guy named Bruce Clay at Rarebird Guitar Laboratory here in Denver. But experience is the best teacher. Because when in 1989, when I was at Roberto Venn, in the 80s, everybody was going to be the next Paul Reed Smith. None of us became the next Paul Reed Smith, but all of us were convinced we were going to be the next Paul Reed Smith. Well, the fact of the matter is that when you leave Roberto Venn, you made 2 or 3 guitars. And that's not bad, but it's like you learn some of the basic stuff, and you need to build on that. It's not like, well, I made 1 guitar, so now I know everything there is to know. In fact, now you are qualified to just make that guitar at Roberto Venn. Because what happened, of course, was you left Roberto Venn and, I don't have any tools. I spent a bunch of money and now I don't have a joiner, and I don't have a bandsaw, and I don't have a this, that, or the other. So what you learn at those schools is the basics. And then you need to build on those skills. And I think that Brian would say exactly the same thing. This will get you started. This will get your feet wet. But you are going to need to put in a bunch more effort to get really good. Having said that, when we were down in Nashville a couple years ago, we stopped by the guitar Building Institute. Great facility. I haven't been to Roberto Venn in 30 years, but I can tell you this much. The facility in Nashville was superior to the Roberto Venn facility 30 years ago. Now, I have heard that Roberto Venn since moved, but I see pictures of what those guys are doing, and it's leaps and bounds ahead of what we did 3 decades ago. So, you're just gonna have to kind of get in there and wreck a bunch of wood and learn a bunch of stuff and keep plugging away at it and just don't quit, you know? That's the hardest lesson right there is don't quit. And I quit for a long time, and then we started back up again. So I think I stopped building guitars from 96 to, it was easily 10 years there where I wasn't doing anything. I was kind of monkeying around, but yeah. So
Cool.
Yeah. I hope that answers that question.
Yep.
Say hey to Brian for us too.
Yeah. Punch him very gently in the arm and say,
What?
No, don't even do that.
Why would you do that?
Well, you can't do that. You can't get close to anybody anymore. Don't.
Oh
don't
yeah,
punch
that's
anybody.
right. The social
No,
distancing.
I was just gonna like, hey, Texas Toast says, hey, man.
Hey, Brian says that I think he owes us tacos and beer. Maybe
Yeah.
Rio. I don't know how that
I don't know
works,
either.
But yeah, looking forward to seeing Brian
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I have an Ibanez semi-hollow, and the jack has been driven partially into the body.
I know
Should
exactly.
I just drill it out and use a jack plate, or can I glue it back in place and reinstall the jack?
The easiest way to do it is to use a plate.
Oh, so this is going to be on the top of the guitar, I think.
You know, the last time I did this was for what's his name, the fuzzy face guy,
Ryan Chris.
Ryan Chris, and he
Okay.
had a Gretsch that
Okay.
had that same thing. It was on the side.
It was on the side. Okay.
And what we were gonna do is we were going to pull all that wood back, tug it back out, and glue it all up, and use it again. But what we ended up doing was he's like, well, let's just do it down and dirty. So we drilled a big hole, 7/8 hole, and put a plate on it.
Put a plate on it.
If it's on the top, yeah.
Yeah, if it's on the side, I would do the metal plate because that's going to be the longer lasting repair.
And easiest.
Yeah, and easiest, and most solid on the top. I think I would try and pull it back into place just because it's going to look better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Tim Buchanan wants to know
Tim.
fabric fretboards. Radius, comma, glue cloth, comma, seal, comma, with one coat and then cut slots, fret
I
slots.
think that's how we did it.
That's how we did it. Yeah. We wanted to have the sealer on the fabric to hold the fabric together, so that when you cut the slots in it, you wouldn't get any frays. So so that's how we did it.
It worked great.
It worked great, but it's completely different than than the way we normally do things.
Yeah.
Because I think we glued the fretboards on the necks, and then we cut the necks in the fret slot cutter as necks before we shaped them. So they were still, sort of square. But
Because we're jigged up to do fretboard radiusing once they're attached to necks. That's just the way that we build guitars. So you're right. We had to. The fretboards were glued to the necks with no slots. Also, back assward from what we normally do. Then we radius. Then we glued a bunch of fabric to them. Then we had to cut the slots.
Yep.
That was fun. And then we routed for binding, and then that's right.
Yeah, those that guitar was a lot more work than I think most people
I think
realize.
so too.
Yeah. And those necks were a lot more work.
Yeah.
And the fingerboards, after all that, after they were bound, I masked them and I sunburst them.
That's right.
So, and then you had to deal with that. And
there's 3 of them.
And they still don't have frets in them.
Yeah.
So then you got to put clear on it, and you got to make the clear look pretty. And then you can put frets in, but you can't scratch the clear.
That was a big job, yeah.
So, Driddle wants to know, how is Chuck Thunder's Institute of Awesome doing?
I just replied.
Oh,
You
did
know, we fear the worst with Chuck Thunder.
We do.
As the mighty Samson lost his powers when his hair was cut off by Delilah, So goes Chuck Thunder's flowing locks.
Awesome mane of power and wisdom.
Yes, yes. So we fear that Chuck Thunder will either have to get a wig, which would be positively hilarious, or we may never see Chuck Thunder ever again. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah. We made. Yeah, I can't imagine seeing. I mean, that would be like seeing, a crew-cutted Hulk Hogan.
It would be like seeing bald Hulk Hogan or the Hulk Hogan without a bandana.
Limping around the swimming pool.
It would be sort of like seeing
Vegas.
Bret Michaels with no bandana and hat.
Yeah, that would be awful.
And the hair sewn into both of them.
Yes, yes.
Edge of Eternity 101 wants to know, this is a paint question.
Okay.
Would a black light show lacquer? I have a very early Agile LP Junior and the finish really looks like lacquer. If it's not, it's a very thin coat. I have not tested it, but I will sometime. I've never really played with a black light on lacquer, but as I understand it, as lacquer ages, it yellows, and the yellow will show up with the black light.
I'd be surprised if an Agile was
Me
lacquer.
too. Most import guitars, no matter what the quality is, are, and this started in the 60s, they started using enamels and urethanes way earlier than American guitars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it could be.
And
But, yeah,
I mean,
test
who
it.
knows what happened after it left the factory too.
And it could just be very, very thin.
That's the thing. Yeah, you know, a lot of people get wrapped around the axle with nitrocellulose and acrylic lacquers versus polyester and polyurethane and regular urethane. The fact of the matter is, as long as it's thin, I don't think it matters one bit.
No, it doesn't. I actually got to work on Richard Ryan's guitar today,
Yeah.
and that was one that we built a couple of years ago, and it has all our modern paint. But I had to move a strap button.
Yeah.
So I took the strap button out, and this, little
Oh,
1/32nd by 1/32nd chip came up with it. But the finish was paper thin. I mean,
Yeah,
not
it's-
even paper thin. It was like
Yeah.
cellophane thin. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, our finishes are thin.
yeah. Now they don't wear like lacquer, but
No,
they're thin.
No,
so-
but it does have some. He's owned that guitar for a couple years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a little bit of wear on it. And in another decade, it'll have more wear on it. I think
Does-
a lot of lacquer guitars, I think the finishes on those start falling apart almost instantly.
Yeah.
If you're not careful,
Yeah.
and I think especially that the old original 50s and 60s stuff really wore
because
fast.
it has a lot of nitrocellulose in it, so not way more than nitrocellulose finishes have today. Chris, does wood breathe?
No.
No, it doesn't have lungs.
No.
So yeah,
Just like soybeans don't have
just
mammary
like
glands.
soybeans don't give milk.
Yeah. What strings do you ship your builds out with, or is that customer driven also?
Generally speaking, 10s, unless someone says, "Hey, I want 12s or 11s," or like when we did that guitar for Vince, he's like, "I gotta have this set. This is the one true and holy set for me." So yeah.
Yeah, and really, because most people are going to probably change the strings that we send them a guitar with pretty fast, no matter what strings we put on.
That's a great
We usually just
point.
use, Diodario or Ernie Ball or Dunlops that we can get a good deal
pickups. Everybody has their favorite pickup and everyone has their favorite string. You got to ship the guitar with pickups and strings, but strings, like as soon as somebody gets it, they're gonna yank them all off and throw them out and put their set on. So
Yep.
yeah.
Battle Axe Guitars wants to know,
Hey, Sam.
what do you think of acrylic finishes for guitars?
Like acrylic lacquer.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, what's your opinion?
I don't know. I don't have enough experience. Well, acrylic lacquer is, slightly better than nitrocellulose lacquer as far as durability. Most nitros now are mostly acrylic. And really, the story of paint is the story of plastic.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of the same thing. It's just different formulations for the plastic and the solvents that melt them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of acrylic. I think so much of acrylic finish that we use urethane on everything.
Yeah.
So I hope that.
He says, yeah, acrylic lacquer, I find it's less toxic to work with. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, here in the U.S., lacquer is a dirty word as far as manufacturing goes.
Unless you're manufacturing guitars, then it's magic.
Yeah, but trying to get, consistent good stuff and colors and all this other stuff is a real pain. And it was a game changer for us when we could get any color we wanted, and we could just go to the paint store and buy paint. And there was a little bit of a learning curve, but overall everything got a lot better. And I know Jesse's guitars, one of the reasons that he started building guitars here was because he wanted to use our spray booth.
Yeah.
And he wanted to start using some different paint products. He was having to wait for his previous stuff to dry.
He was using that
3 weeks
what was
or
that
4 weeks.
Stuff? It was like that
it's
water-based
stuff.
crap.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk bad about it.
No,
but he wasn't having very good luck with it. And he was getting a lot of shrinkage and just weird stuff. And so he started using our paint methods, and his guitars instantly got better.
Yeah, I don't know if Jesse's watching, but
the learning curve down.
He will absolutely say, "Oh yeah, this new stuff is like night and day."
Yeah, because his builds were really solid, but his finishes were. He was having some issues.
He was not super stoked with the product he was using, and
yeah.
And a lot of that is because he didn't have a booth to spray it in, so he was doing the best he could with what he had.
Yeah.
Is Carrie Ann chiming in over this?
Yeah.
Is she getting in on the action?
Glitza, the good toxic version as a guitar finish. I've never heard of Glitza, so I don't know.
Yeah. One of the problems with some of those like super toxic things is it's mostly solvent. There's hardly any solid there, so you're spraying mostly thinner or reducer or something. You're not spraying very much actual paint. That's what. So the difference between solid and So if it's like super crazy toxic, then it's probably just loaded with solvent and probably doesn't have very much build. So.
Yeah.
So is that about it?
I think so. Yeah.
Guys, thanks for joining us. I love these Thursday things. They go by so fast, and but we talk about so many great things, and it just makes me very happy to do it. Do you have fun with these?
Yeah, they're really fun.
Would you have fun when I'm reading the questions or when you're reading the questions?
Well, I know that you have more answers because you talk more.
Well, okay, that's what it really is.
So I think this works out fine. I mean, we could because
the last time we did it, remember I read the questions.
Yeah, that was okay too. We'll try that next week and see how that works.
Yeah.
So
guys, thanks to all of our sponsors, and check them out and let them know that the guys from Texas Toast sent you their way, and throw them some love. And hopefully that this will help out and work out for everybody. I want to remind everybody we've got more build classes coming up. We've got archive videos from all of the previous classes, including last week's Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Frets, but we're afraid to ask. That is available on our website. That was fun.
It was fun.
That was cool, man. So you can still get that and watch that and enjoy that. It's still $20 because it's 2 hours jam-packed with lots and lots and lots of material. So I'm not gonna lower the price down to $5 on that one right away. I'm just gonna leave it at $20 because I think it's a really good class. And remember, you can watch those videos as many times as you want. You can watch it 100 million times. What's up for this Sunday's live stream, Chris?
This Sunday's live stream is a very, very special episode.
That's right.
It is Matt's birthday episode.
That's right. Matt is celebrating 50.
I wasn't going to say it.
No,
you're
it's
right.
true.
Matt turns 50.
That's right.
Can you believe it?
These are a lot more serious, even though I say stuff like I'd rather catch it with a knitting needle or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Sunday things are just off the rails, and usually I get drunk, and you never know what's going to come out of my big fat mouth. But it's going to be something. So anyway, guys, I hope that you had a good time tonight. Thanks to our sponsors. Be sure to tune in on Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, Texas Toast Guitars. We'll see you then. And until then, this is Matt.
This is Chris.
Reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what we do. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Oh, no, we'll see you Sunday.
Sunday. Then Thursday.
Then Thursday
We'll see you tomorrow,
again.
too, for a reveal.
Christ, I forgot all about that. Yeah.
It's a